The Sony Xperia. Just saying the name feels like a throwback to when it was the future in your hand. Cutting-edge cameras, bold designs, displays so good they redefined what a smartphone screen could look like. And all of it powered by Sony's unmatched legacy in entertainment tech. But here's the thing, ask someone today about Sony phones and they might just hit you with, wait, they still make those? Crazy, right? Let's rewind a bit. Back when smartphones were still figuring themselves out, Sony? They were pioneering. Waterproof phones before anyone else thought it was cool. That was Sony. Actual 4K displays on something that fits in your pocket? Yep, Sony again. They even took that camera magic straight from their Alpha series, slapped it into their phones, and bam! Everyday snaps suddenly looked like magazine covers. And the build quality? Awesome. Holding a Sony Xperia in your hand is a great feel. Sleek, understated, and so unmistakably Sony. These weren't just phones for app junkies, they were for creators, audiophiles, and anyone who wanted their tech to scream premium. So, what happened? Why did the once proud Xperia line fade into near irrelevance? Well, the answer isn't some snappy one-liner. First up, the competition turned savage. Around the same time Sony was perfecting those cinematic displays, Samsung and Apple were out there, dominating, with massive ecosystems and aggressive marketing campaigns. And then you had OnePlus and other value-packed Android brands swooping in, eating up Sony's market share like ravenous wolves. But honestly, Sony's biggest problem? It was Sony. They played the long game, doubling down on innovation for the niche crowd while everyone else sprinted toward the masses. A glorious 21:9 aspect ratio screen? Awesome for watching movies, but less great when Instagram crops half your selfie. It was a vibe, but only a few truly got it. And let's talk pricing. Sony charged flagship prices for features most people didn't even know how to value. Like, yeah, the headphone jack stayed longer on Xperia than on most rivals. But did that really justify the premium? Especially when other brands offered similar specs for hundreds less. For most people, the answer was a hard no. And then there's the marketing, or let's be real, the lack of it. Sony almost seemed allergic to shouting about its phones, while competitors were plastering billboards, spamming YouTube ads, and budding up with influencers. Sony Xperia was like, if you know, you know. That's cool for building a cult following, but not so great for growing sales. And yet, Sony hasn't given up. Fast forward to today, and the Xperia series, it's still clinging to life. In fact, in true Sony fashion, they're still making incredible phones. They're just doing it their way. You've got cinematic tools baked into creator mode, hardware crafted for pro photographers, and screens that still look like they were ripped straight out of an IMAX theater. Sony carved out a loyal fanbase, creators, enthusiasts, and let's be honest, people who just love rooting for the underdog. But carving out a niche, it's not the same as dominating a market. For every person wowed by their innovative features, there were others, scratching their heads over clunky quirks. Take the software for example. Sony phones have often been packed with extras, let's just call it bloat, apps you didn't ask for and honestly will probably never use. Sure, you can clean it up, uninstall the fluff, maybe even run a debloating tool to really strip it down. But by then, you're already working harder than you should just to make the phone feel smooth and streamlined, something it should have been out of the box. But let's not overlook the good stuff. Sony's displays, they're awesome. The color, the clarity, just stunning. Those OLED panels with their signature 21:9 aspect ratio, perfect for watching widescreen movies or splitting apps for multitasking. Of course, that same aspect ratio, it wasn't always a win. Some apps looked off, social media might stretch or crop awkwardly, and certain video content, yeah, it didn't always play nice. But when it worked, wow, it was immersive in a way most phones could only dream of. And the sound, absolutely top tier. Stereo speakers delivering crisp cinematic audio, you could feel that Sony cared about the details. And the build quality, oh man, these phones felt amazing. Every button, every curve, it all felt so intentional. Still, there were misses. Take SideSense, Sony's attempt to make those tall phones easier to use. It sounded great on paper, but in practice, it didn't quite stick the landing. And updates? Let's just say Sony wasn't exactly winning awards for keeping their phones fresh. But here's the thing, the Xperia today, it feels like it's designed for a parallel universe where the mainstream actually cares about these things. And the irony? Even with all its quirks, Sony hasn't stopped innovating. Their recent phones still pack those signature tools, creator-focused camera apps, great quality displays, hardware that's both durable and downright gorgeous. But it's a quiet brilliance. They're not chasing trends or shouting for attention. Instead, they're whispering, "This is for you if you want it." So, why doesn't everyone want it? Maybe because Sony is still playing by its own rules, refusing to follow the crowd, and honestly, that's both its greatest strength and its biggest weakness. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll catch you there.